With Halloween right around the corner, I wanted to get my first platinum trophy in a horror game. I started thinking of what it should be with so many great options out there: Resident Evil, Dead Space, maybe even Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach with the movie coming up. Ultimately, I thought back to the first horror game I ever played, one that I consider to be the best of all time, Outlast. I remember the pure panic I would have running from enemies in this dark and horrifying game where your only options are to run or hide, and knew I wanted to go back and play it. The real jump scare though was checking its trophy list to see it didn't have a platinum. That's when I decided to look into Outlast 2 and was shocked to see the game listed as an 8 out of 10 difficulty on PSN profiles, being called the hardest horror game to complete. Confused why, I eventually came across 2 ultra rare trophies that only 0.1% of players have earned. One for beating the game on its insane difficulty, and another for doing so without reloading a single camera battery. If you know anything about Outlast, you would know the main premise of the game is to use a camera to navigate the darkness and avoid death. So to play the game without night vision sounds crazy. Well, just to top things off, it turns out that the insane mode is also a permadeath mode, meaning if you die once, you have to completely restart the entire game. Oh yeah, and most enemies one hit, and the 40 minutes of cutscenes throughout the game are unskippable. Sounds fun. But being someone who hasn't done any challenging or difficult platinum trophies yet, I knew I wanted to do this. But I wanted to go the extra distance. When I saw Outlast 1 also had 2 insane run trophies, one for its main game and another for the Whistleblower DLC, I decided I had to get every single trophy in the Outlast franchise. Our journey begins on Outlast 1. We play as Miles Upshur, a freelance investigative journalist who received a mysterious email about the Murkoff Corporation performing unethical and inhumane tests at Mount Massive Insane Asylum. Entering the building through a window, Miles quickly sees the chaos that is Mount Massive. Ignoring the advice of a dying guard to get out, we venture further into the asylum where we meet Chris Walker, who throws us off the second floor, causing Miles to pass out. Eventually, Miles wakes up with Father Martin sitting over him. He calls us his apostle before locking the doors and shutting down the main power breaker. We have another encounter with Chris Walker where we learn the #1 rule in Outlast: hide. Once Chris moves on, we make our way into the basement to restore the power. This is where we have our first encounter with a variant. Variants are the result of failed Murkoff testing who have overrun the asylum. This includes Father Martin and Chris Walker. After sneaking our way around, we turn the power back on and unlock our first trophy, Illuminated, for restoring the power to the administrative block. Once we get back to the control room, Father Martin injects us with a sedative and we wake up deeper in Mount Massive inside of Father Martin's old cell. After encountering more variants, we eventually come across writing in blood that says "down the drain." Following the blood path seemingly created for us, we make our way into the sewers, and after a few more encounters with Chris, unlock our next trophy, Flushed, for draining the path into the mail ward. Once we get there, we're greeted with a friendly chase that leads us right into the hands of Dr. Traeger. After strapping us down to a wheelchair, he pushes us into a bathroom where he performs unconsented finger amputation. He leaves us for a moment and Miles manages to break free and grab his camera. Now sneaking around Traeger's playground, we find an elevator key and escape. That is, before Traeger makes one last attempt at stopping us.
Oh shoot, wait, go back up, go back up. Hey, go back up. Oh,
Miles fights him off and we get to witness the most satisfying moment of the entire game.
Oh, top 10 things you love to see. It.
Unfortunately, Traeger's body does get in the way of our escape plan and we have to find a new way out. We run into Father Martin again, who tells us to meet him outside. I don't see why we should trust him, but we do, and on our way forward, a variant starts a fire blocking our path. So we're once again forced to sneak around our best friend Chris Walker as we reactivate the sprinkler system and unlock our third trophy. We exit out into the courtyard where we have our first encounter with a ghost-like silhouette that we later learn is called the Wall Rider. Chris, not willing to give up on us, chases us back into the asylum. It's here I record a paranormal-like clanking object in a machine to unlock the Educated trophy for collecting 15 documents and 15 recordings. Documents are found throughout the game and serve as the only collectible alongside recording certain events with your camera. We'll need to acquire all of them in one playthrough for a trophy, but for now we continue on with the story. We find the key to the female ward stuck in a laundry chute, and after collecting 3 fuses while avoiding variants, we send it down to where we collect it and unlock the Emancipated trophy for doing so. Almost to Father Martin, Miles drops his camera. We wander our way around the dark and eventually reunite with our now broken camera before being chased away. I'm told to go to the recreational hall because there's a movie that I must see before I can get the key to the house of God. After doing exactly that, we finally make our way to Father Martin, who gives us the key to the elevator. He says he fixed it to take us to freedom, then has us watch as he gladly sets himself on fire while hanging from a cross. We get into the elevator, and after a brief stop by the exit, of course the doors don't open and we get taken even further down. We walk out into what appears to be the secret Murkoff lab where they perform their tests. Seeing corpses and pools of blood all over, we have another encounter with the Wall Rider, who's clearly been cleaning house. This time we're his target and are forced to run before seeing our #1 fan one last time. After Chris throws Miles, the Wall Rider violently kills him in front of us and we go our separate ways, where we find Dr. Wernicke, who reveals the Wall Walrider is actually the creation of the Murkoff experiments and is being controlled by Billy Hope in the morphogenic engine. Wernicke instructs us to turn off Billy's life support to stop the Walrider, which we agree to do. After a few more chases, we get the job done, but as we take a moment to capture Murkoff's wrongdoings on camera, Miles is attacked one last time. Hardly surviving this encounter, we limp our way to the exit where it seems Wernicke and armed forces are ready to extract us, but instead, being on Murkoff's payroll, they gun Miles down. This reveals that Miles has now become the host, and the game ends with him killing them all as the Walrider. We unlock Punished for completing the game, and this leaves just 2 trophies for me to clean up before starting the DLC. One for collecting all documents and recordings in a single playthrough, which I knock out with ease using a guide. We just finished the game. Normally, you're gonna go ahead and just kind of limp your way on over to safety, but the final note and final collectible of the game is to pull out your camera and examine Billy's dead body. And now for the fun part, we need to beat the game on insane difficulty. So as I mentioned before, I've never done a permadeath run in any video game, so I spent my first couple of attempts really just testing the boundaries and learning the specifics of what you can and can't get away with. Attempt number 3 is where I finally started to make some decent progress, and I made it to the sewers where you have multiple encounters with Chris Walker. Still sort of testing the limits, I thought it would be a good idea to try to hide in the dark in front of him. Oh my god! Oh no. He one-hits you so fast. Obviously, it didn't end well because why would that have worked? But the next time around, we get past the sewers and make it to the chase leading to Dr. Traeger. This wasn't something I was super confident in because I knew one wrong turn could ruin the entire run. All right, this is the only spot right now that I'm worried about. I don't know the chase sequence. If we can get to Traeger, life's gonna be a little bit easier. But this chase, I'm kind of worried about because there's so many doors that all look the same. And I have to like remember the exact route I need to take. Hopefully, muscle memory just kicks in. All right, the chase has started. I was quick on this part, but the problem is that doesn't really save us any time because they just go through the different door. Oh, wait. I die here if I don't board this up. Oh, thank God I remembered that. This still isn't even the part that I'm worried about. It's this part where they find the other door. Blood trail says go here. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'm thinking of the... Holy sh... Oh, yeah, this is the part that I'm thinking of. This part's annoying. Not that. No, I'm stuck! God! Oh! There's 2 windows! And you gotta go through the other one. That was the only part I was worried about. Well, we're just going to change this number to 4, aren't we? Our next couple of attempts were pretty much the same thing, dying super early in the game in relatively dumb ways, but with all of that out of my system, going into my 7th attempt, I was locked in. We breezed past the opening of the game and clear the sewers to get back to the chase that ended our previous run. With the proper route fresh in my mind, I escaped with plenty of time and am now further than I've ever been before. Sneaking around Traeger was the part of the game I was least confident in, but having already played the game twice beforehand, I knew exactly what I needed to do and came across a super easy strategy to avoid ever getting cornered. Normally, I wouldn't unlock this door until the end of the level, but because I did it immediately, I was able to constantly go inside of a vent whenever Traeger would chase me, which guaranteed he would lose sight and start roaming away. Because of this, it didn't take long for us to get to the elevator key. I don't know if this is the right move. This could kill me. Might not. We'll see. I just don't know if we're going to be so close to him that's going to trigger him. Okay, that's the move. So we've got the elevator key. And then we've already unlocked this door. Look at that. Oh. All right, that's our next big hurdle. Having that door open made it so much easier to avoid him because of the whole vent play that we could do. With that out of the way, I was feeling pretty confident about this run, despite knowing I could easily get one hit by Chris with just one tiny misstep. However, we push even further into the game without any hiccups. We're now at the part of the game where I need to collect 3 fuses, and this is the only other location I was worried about ending my run. Close the door! Oh my god. Thank god. Thank god. Where am I? Oh, there's an enemy here too. I don't think he gets aggroed until I grab the battery. This is stressful. Ideally, I get both of them mad at the same time. Bro's full sprinting over here.
Got the last 2 fuses. I might have to get this dude to chase me in here. It's going to be stressful, but I think I need to get dude to chase me here. He's coming closer. The timing on this is going to be so tight.
Close it. Wait. That's so good. I wasn't expecting to get that door closed. That helps out a crazy amount because this is the door that I was banking on getting shut right here. Oh, that gives us all the time we need in the world. That is infinitely clutch. That man came full sprint and went on the wrong side of the room. Oh, that's such a stressful part to have just gotten through. And as I said, that was a relief to finish because we're officially in the end game now. We cruise by some more simple encounters and reach the lab. This part can be tricky if you don't know where to go since the wall rider isn't visible without night vision, but with this being the only location I watched a video on before playing, I felt super comfortable with my routes, and it isn't long before we have our final chase.
All we gotta do is not choke the jump. We didn't choke the jump. This is supposed to happen. All right. I just have to hit a button, dude. This is back to the main lab. I don't know if Billy's even chasing me anymore. He might be. Oh, he's definitely chasing me. Go back down. And then we hit this button. And it should be... Dude, imagine I grab that dock instead. That should be our only last threat. Billy should be dead here. Dude, we had only ever gotten to like 40% of the game on all of our previous playthroughs. And then on number 7, we just cranked out the rest of it. Definitely had some crazy moments, some lucky moments, but that's it. Oh my God, boys, we did it. The first of, I'm assuming, 3 permadeath runs for the Outlast franchise. Lunatic, finished the game in insane mode. Now, onto the Whistleblower DLC, which I would argue has the best story in the Outlast franchise despite only being about 2 hours. We play as Waylon Park, a software consultant working on the Wall Rider project for Murkoff. Sickened by the horrors he's witnessed, the DLC starts with Waylon sending an email hoping to expose Murkoff to 1 Miles Upshur. As we hit send, we're called over to work on the morphogenic engine. Fixing the error code, we run into Eddie Gleskin, a patient who's about to be tested to see if he's compatible with the project. Eddie, being incompatible, immediately starts to show signs, and we see lesions appear on his face as we walk away. After seeing hands-on how variants are created, we walk back to the server room to grab our laptop, but the man in charge of Project Wall Rider, Jeremy Blair, is already there waiting on us. Knowing what we've done, Blair and his corrupt guards beat us down and administer Waylon into the program due to mental illness. While we're in the middle of one of our sessions, a subject named Billy Hope is found compatible and begins to control the Wall Rider. As we've seen from the main game, this backfires and Billy begins his rampage. We're freed from our cuffs and grab a camera before escaping our cell. We have a few run-ins with variants, but manage to lose them in the vents. This is how we overhear a conversation between a guard and an employee about a radio inside the prison. Knowing we have a potential way to contact the outside world, we now have a plan to escape. Unfortunately, getting to the radio is easier said than done with all the hostile variants and Wall Rider roaming the lab. And it doesn't take long until we run into a variant named Frank, a man who, let's just say, has a unique appetite. We sneak our way around him searching for a key to unlock the path forward. After doing so and seemingly escaping, Frank bursts through a door and tosses us into a furnace, but able to kick down the broken bricks inside, we just barely manage to escape. We come across an exit from the lab, but seeing it's blocked off by a gas leak, we once again need to sneak around Frank as we disconnect the pipes to pick up our first trophy of the DLC. Now in the courtyard, we have a relatively safe time working our way closer to the prison with only a few encounters with some nice gentlemen playing basketball. Finally, to the radio, we make contact with 911, but before we have the chance to say anything, Employee of the Month Jeremy Blair knocks us down and breaks the entire system. All this noise gets the attention of something big nearby that causes Blake to take off in a hurry. A few seconds later, we see a familiar face walk through the door, and it's none other than our BFF Chris Walker, alive and in the flesh. Able to sneak by, we make our way into the main cell block of Mount Massive and come across Father Martin, who's in the middle of writing "Down the Drain" on the wall with blood. This is our first sign that the events taking place in the DLC are intertwined with the main game, as Father Martin only started creating this blood path after injecting Miles with the sedative. Just like Miles will do after us, we drop down, but being chased by Chris
Chris again, we're forced to take a different route by jumping out of a window. With the fence forward being electrically charged, we make our way to the power breaker and turn off the electricity to unlock Shocker for doing so. After climbing to the top of the lighthouse, we make an attempt to jump across onto the roof of the asylum, but landing just short, we fall down into the vocational block. Once again, we have to dodge more variants until we find ourselves face to face with who is referred to as the Groom. This turns out to be the man we saw at the beginning of the DLC, Eddie Gluskin, who has been completely consumed by the side effects of the engine testing. In our best efforts to escape, we jump onto an emergency ladder in an elevator shaft. Clearly not up to code, it instantly starts to break off the wall and Waylon falls on top of the elevator, injuring his leg in the process. We limp our way into a locker to hide, but Gluskin finds us and locks the door shut. Now trapped, he drags us away and sprays us with a gas that puts us to sleep. Throughout the next 12 hours, Waylon goes in and out of consciousness, learning why they call Gluskin the Groom. With it now being our turn to become his next bride, we're saved last second by a variant tackling him and distracting him long enough for us to run. We're forced to take one last leap of faith to escape Gluskin, but after exploring around a bit, we find out we're exactly where he wants us, walking down the aisle. We get the key to the mail ward, but before having the chance to use it, are captured. Gluskin, unhappy that we rejected his proposal, wants us to hang with all of his other exes. But not willing to give up, we wiggle our toes, causing Gluskin to lose his footing and catapult up, impaling him in the web of his own creation. Finally arriving to the mail ward, we look out the window to see flames from the church. This means Father Martin has already set himself on fire and Miles is somewhere in the lab. Unaware of any of this, Waylon just wants to escape with his life, so we continue our way through the administration block, seeing the aftermath of Miles' time here. I show my respects to the dead, and with the exit in sight, we see Blair begging for mercy. We go to help him up and learn the hard way that some people just don't change, and he stabs us. As he's about to make the finishing blow, the wall rider swoops in and tears his body apart. Running on fumes, Waylon makes his way out, starts up Miles' car, and gets one last look at the wall rider, who is once again revealed to be Miles, who gives us an extra boost through the gate. The DLC ends with Waylon exposing everything with the help of a mysterious man named Simon Peacock. We earn the trophy Whistleblower for finishing the game, and just like the main story, we have two more cleanup playthroughs to do. One where we collect all documents and all recordings, and another for beating the game on insane difficulty. This time around, I decided to go directly into the insane run without any breaks, so my first two playthroughs would still be fresh in my head. The DLC has far less opportunities to get one hit, so going into our first run, there really wasn't any pressure until our final encounter with Frank.
Oh, the timing of this is going to be horrible. He was like right here that one time, yeah. I don't know what's going to happen here. Don't grab me. The thing is, he didn't open the door. And that door needs to be unlocked. I guess we can just go through the library again. Yeah, the library and then to the right of that and then straight. God, this is the only spot I'm kind of nervous about not remembering. We squeeze by here. And then the chase is over. One more encounter. I don't... okay, you know what? I'm just going to let my muscle memory take over. I don't remember what we need to do here, but I think it's just loop around one of the directions and avoid him. I wasn't sure where he would be at. That was actually probably good, right? And don't choke the door. Good, good, good. And we're out, right? We just had to turn off the gas. No keys or anything, right? Yeah, that encounter is kind of tragic. Do I have a battery to spare? Let me beat Insanity first try, please. This guy was the one I was most worried about. We officially finished his spot.
And like I said, getting through that part of the game was a major confidence boost. We continue to breeze by the simple encounters and get a good pathing during our chase with Chris, keeping the pressure off. So finishing this run in one go will all be determined by how we play these final encounters with Gluskin.
So we're actually kind of cruising by as far as a speed run goes. How long has it been? 30 minutes? All I've got to do is survive this enemy, and that's the last of the game, I'm pretty sure. So this is the one situation I'm worried about. But I think we could just easily get by it if I just force him to chase me here. There we go. Don't choke the door. That should make this entire encounter much easier. I think next one he spawns in on you, right? Is there a reason to close the door? I don't quite remember, and that's kind of sketching me out. Because I know we're deep in the run at this point. Yeah, he's going to spawn on me. It's going to be stupid. I don't know if it's worth my time to close this door or not. There's another door. Right? Oh, no, I don't. Okay, we don't have to worry about... Oh, I almost didn't press jump. We cleared it. All right, there's like 2 more encounters with this dude, and then I'm pretty sure we're in the clear. No, this part actually sucks. I could get RNG'd by this. Please go straight. Please go straight. Oh my god, I could have gotten RNG'd there, but I didn't. So now it's up to me to not choke this run, which I don't really remember. I just remember... oh, actually, no, it's clicking. I just need to close this door and we're chilling. All right, we're chilling. This is the ultimate test. If I just, for some reason, don't get good timing and can't sprint by, then I'm fucked. That's what's up. Oh, he ran on me. Oh, we closed the door. Thank God. Thank God. Oh, doors are actually extremely hard to close. Sometimes you can close yourself in it. And we didn't choke that, which means we get to the vent without this dude even being close. Oh, he ran in that room so much faster than he ever has before. All right, let me out of here. I think we beat the game. I think that was the last situation where you have an opportunity to die. With that, that's 2 back-to-back insanity runs done for Outlast and the Whistleblower DLC, which means we just have one more left. One more permadeath run. That's going to be Outlast 2, arguably the hardest one to do a permadeath run on. Yes, sir. There we go. 100% completion of Outlast 1. I'll take that. Next up, Outlast 2. And here we are, Outlast 2, a game with an average completion rate of just 11% with only 1% of players achieving the Platinum Trophy. As I said in the intro, this would be my toughest Platinum yet, coming in at an 8 out of 10 difficulty. Outlast 2, releasing 4 years after the original, takes everything that made its predecessor great and improves it with 2 major changes that dramatically increase the game's difficulty. In Outlast 1, after taking damage, you would passively heal over time. In this game, you need to find and use bandages. In Outlast 1, you had an unlimited amount of sprint, allowing you to simply train any threats chasing you. In this game, you have a limited amount of stamina. Start running too soon or get caught out of breath and game over. As usual, step 1 in acquiring the Platinum Trophy would be for us to play through the story mode for the first time and take mental notes of how enemy encounters work. With this game being longer than both Outlast 1 and its DLC combined, I really had to understand it like the back of my hand to finish the Messiah run, so paying attention to each dark corner would be crucial. I start my first playthrough on the Nightmare difficulty. This is recommended as it replicates the same spawn points for enemies as the Insane mode. We play as Blake Langerman, the cameraman and husband of reporter Lynn Langerman. The couple are flying in on a helicopter to investigate the death of a Jane Doe. As we get closer to the scene, a white flash can be seen in the distance and the helicopter's engine shuts down, causing them to crash. Blake, knocked out from the crash, has a flashback to his childhood. It's here we see a picture of him, Lynn, and their childhood friend Jessica in his locker before regaining consciousness. Alone, Blake grabs his camera and starts looking for Lynn. We walk deeper into the mountains and come across a village that doesn't seem to be in a welcoming mood. We soon have our first run-in with Marta, who attempts to slice our head off, and Blake learns it's not safe here, while I learn that this Nightmare difficulty is going to be a bit harder than the first game. He's looking right at me. Watch him just hop out this window. You see me? Nah. Cool. With our first of many deaths that'll come on this initial playthrough, we make our way through and witness another white flash that seems to have stunned everyone around us. We wander our way into a church and eventually see Lynn jumping out of a window. We do the same and reunite, giving us our first trophy for finding Lynn. As we escape together, Lynn begins to complain about stomach pains, and soon after, a voice goes over a sound system around the village announcing Lynn is pregnant with the Antichrist. Noth, the man on the speaker, commands his followers to kill us and stop the devil child from being born. Blake, confused by everything going on, questions how Lynn could even be pregnant. Before having an opportunity to figure out what's happening, the couple is circled by a group of cultists who intend to kill them, but another group known as the Heretics scare them off and their leader Val takes Lynn away. Leaving Blake alive, we get back on our feet and once again start searching for Lynn. Sneaking by more cultists, we once again experience a white flash that causes us to hallucinate about our old childhood school. Coming back into reality, we fall off a cliff where we're greeted by a man named Ethan. It's revealed Ethan's daughter is the girl whose death we're investigating, and after lying to him saying she's alright, Ethan offers us a place to rest. However, our nap is cut short as we awaken to Marta questioning Ethan. He doesn't give us up and pays the ultimate price for staying silent. We go back into the village and have more encounters with the cultist. Not canon to the story, I die,
then die, and die again. This will end up being a reoccurring pattern I develop. Eventually, we make it into another church and witness Noth questioning a man named Josiah. He informs Noth that the heretics took Lynn to the mines. Overhearing this, we now know where to go and unlock our second trophy. As we continue to make our way closer to the mines, Blake's hallucinations become more frequent and increasingly worse, now including a monster who can kill us. Back to reality, we attempt to cross a wooden railway when a swarm of locusts knock us off and we fall into Skull territory. These are the people who have been outcast from the village due to sickness and disease. Eventually, we run into Nick and Laird, who think we're Christ sent to fulfill their prophecy and heal them of their diseases. In order to do this, we must be reborn, and they hang us on a cross. They leave, and we pull ourselves off, unlocking a trophy for doing so. After bandaging up and fighting our inner demons, we find ourselves once again being hunted by Nick and Laird.
I bet he can't even hit me with the arrows. Biggest threat out here is the cat.
While attempting to escape, they catch us again and this time bury Blake alive. Managing to break out free one more time, we find a rope we can use to escape the Scold for good. As we climb down, we're caught up by Nick and Laird, who get into a fight. Turns out they aren't super popular with their own people and are pushed off the edge of the building. Surviving the fall, we get another trophy. At this point, the hallucinations are happening every few minutes, and each time Blake is taken further back, we slowly learn more about Jessica, who turns out to have died while they were all children. Eventually, we come across a raft and use it to cross the lake. Almost to the other side, we're thrown from the raft and are chased by more heretics when a huge tongue grabs us and pulls us back into Blake's childhood school. And I feel like this is a good time to finally explain what's actually happening. Remember the white flashes that were seen in the beginning of the game? Well, these flashes are actually the result of more Murkoff testing. Towers are sending out signals that are infecting the entire village of Temple Gate. The more you get exposed to these signals, the stronger the effects of them will be. This is why Blake was seemingly unaffected when we first arrived, but is now having constant hallucinations. But getting back to the quickly diminishing mental state of Blake, while we're inside of the school, the emergency sprinklers start raining down blood. I decide to play in this red slip and slide and unlock a trophy for doing so. Soon after, somewhat regaining sight of reality, Blake is now seeing blood rain from the sky. As we walk forward, we unlock a trophy for reaching the mine facility. It's here we have a bunch of close calls with the heretics and the monster in our head, but eventually, after escaping, we find an elevator that takes us deep into the mines. This is by far the creepiest location of the entire game, having such little room to evade enemies. After a few more encounters with Val and the heretics, we finally get caught and nothing could have prepared me for the scariest part of my entire playthrough. My game crashes and the save file corrupts. Luckily, I was able to reload the game through its in-game chapter select, but this caused me to lose all progress on the difficulty dependent trophies as well as Prophet, a trophy for finishing the game without hiding in a barrel or closet. We get back to where I crashed and finally witness the reason Blake has been having these specific hallucinations this whole time. You see, these hallucinations are dependent on the subject's mental status, and Blake has been living his entire life with guilt for never speaking up about what really happened to Jessica all those years ago. The world thinks Jessica's death was a suicide, but the reality is much worse. Their teacher, Father Loudermouth, had snapped her neck, murdering her, and Blake had caught him in the act. But scared, he kept his mouth shut and let him get away with staging it as a suicide. This also reveals why the demon who chases Blake throughout his memories has this marking on his head. It's Father Loudermilch. We regain consciousness to see the cultists have invaded the mines and use this opportunity to escape, eventually reuniting with the now very pregnant Lynn and unlock a trophy. Together, we make our way through what seems like the end of the world, but Lynn, needing to lay down, has a stop at a church where she gives birth. Well, not exactly. One of the side effects of the morphogenic engine on females is phantom pregnancies. This is why Lynn felt as if she was pregnant, but after supposedly giving birth, says there is nothing there before dying. However, Blake sees the child because at this point the tower signals have fully invaded his brain, causing him to go insane. We unlock the trophy Revelations, and Blake, with his newborn nothing, falls to his knees and watches the end of the world in one final white flash. Blake is taken back to his old school one last time as he reunites with Jessica, and the game ends with them praying together. We get the trophy Born Again for finishing the game, and that brings us to a total of 10 out of the 24 needed for the platinum. Unlike the first Outlast, the second has a decent amount of miscellaneous trophies, so we begin our second run attempting to do as many as we can while speedrunning the game for the Asahel trophy, which requires you to finish the game in under 4 hours. My main focus of this second playthrough was to grab as many collectibles as I could while continuing to make pace for the speedrun. I also made sure to keep my microphone on anytime I was using the camera to unlock them that hath ears for using the microphone for 20 minutes. After beating the game on nightmare mode, the second run on its easy difficulty was a breeze, so I also decided to prioritize using my bandages as often as possible. Thankfully, the easy mode spawns them everywhere, and we secure Heal the Sick for using 10 in a single playthrough. About halfway through the game, we pop Bible Study for collecting 40 documents and the Road to Damascus for 30 recordings, and once again finishing the game, we unlock 2 more trophies. rewards. One, of course, for finishing the game in under 4 hours, and the other for doing so without hiding. Having just a little more cleanup to do before we need to lock it in for the Messiah runs, I hop into Chapter Select to pick up the few collectibles I missed our last time around. While doing so, I spent about 10 minutes crawling around the ground and unlock proper penance for crawling 500 meters. Later, I get my hands on the final document and capture our final recording. To end the day, I decided to spend the next 10 minutes dunking my head under the water, and we acquire our final miscellaneous trophy, Thoroughly Baptized. With 5 trophies still remaining, the platinum is actually a lot closer than it looks. All we need to do is successfully complete a Messiah run, and all of the remaining difficulty dependent trophies will stack. But of course, this won't be easy. Just a quick refresher on what the Messiah challenge is. To unlock this trophy, you need to complete the entire game start to finish in one sitting without dying on the hardest difficulty without reloading your camera battery. This means you'll be playing 90% of the game in the dark, with certain locations only being able to get past by memorizing the steps and turns you need to take. Understanding the challenge that I had in front of me, I spent the next day and a half watching YouTube videos on successful runs during any downtime I had. I woke up and ate breakfast to studying the routes. I'd take a lunch break from work, sit down and study the routes. After dinner, I'd do the dishes while studying the routes. And while laying in bed before going to sleep, I had the TV on, watching and studying the routes. It was absurd how quickly I learned each and every part of the game, just waiting to put it to use the next time I streamed. And finally, that day was here. Because I'm going to spend most of this run in the dark, I went ahead and boosted the brightness of my gameplay in the video. As usual, we start with our opening unskippable 10 minutes of cutscenes. Afterwards, I quickly grab the spare bandage at spawn and begin our insane journey. About 40 minutes in, I get to what I consider to be the first challenging chase sequence of the game and my first real opportunity to die. All right, this is one of the sequences that people can die at if they get stuck. Just hoping we don't get stuck here. So we got to book it through this door. Don't get caught on the dude on the left. And then we're going to sprint, hop over this table, cut the right table, go through the doorway. Apparently you can close and lock that. I'm not going to bother. And instead of going through that door, we go straight down, crouch. I'm not being chased. I got to hold my sprint down though. Yeah, look at how far back they are. Obviously this guy, there's no like getting ahead of. He's just going to be here. But from here, we're going to uncrouch, spam the sprint button, go through the door, and then we'll be safe here at this part. So part 1 of the chase is over. This is a 3-part sequence. Part 2 is going to be hiding under the bed here and waiting for this dude, which apparently on our practice, we somehow triggered him. I think maybe I sprinted and I shouldn't have sprinted. So I'm going to try to stay prone this time. Even that, I kind of cut it close for no reason. I'm gonna just let him completely go out the door. And then we're gonna go under this bed. This guy should open the door. There he goes. And once he goes around this like right pillar, we're just gonna walk on by. Close and lock the door. And they're gonna immediately start breaking it open, but we should have plenty of time here. Because it's 2 hits for them, huh? So I say it should be 5 hits before they get that door unlocked. As soon as I go through this door, they're going to call me out. So I got to like carefully go through this second set of stairs. And then we're going to make a jump right here. And then straight to the window. That's the end of the really long chase. Knocking it out with ease. I don't have much time to celebrate because soon after we need to deal with the Marta wagon sequence. This is notorious for being a game ender due to Marta's random pathing and ability to one-hit. All right, Marta wagon. This is a game ender apparently. As long as I don't mess up the fence, I think I'll be all right. So we should push this to about halfway. As soon as we get this wagon to the pillar, that's when Marta will spawn in front of us. And I'm gonna do the complete runaround. What the hell? What is she doing there? I've never seen her there before. All right. She's acting really weird. All right, I have no idea where she's at and why she's doing the things that she's doing. And I also... Okay, she was on my dome there. If she sees me, she's going to come from the right. If she doesn't, she'll walk back over. All right, I got to step back far enough to
aggro her, and then we could probably peek this. And then once she goes there, I'm going to walk forward. And I should be able to see her through this crack. Okay, she's de-aggroed. And I think I might be able to just push this all the way from here on out. She took such a weird path. And I think because she took that weird route, I can fully get here without her even grabbing me at this part. Oh, the game screwed me. The game screwed me. Wow. That has never happened before. I'm gonna play this safe. See, this is where freestyling really comes into play. Just your ability to adapt to the situations. I didn't jump at the fence. So I'm gonna de-aggro her again. Maybe I need to push it like an inch further. I'm pretty sure it's against the fence. Yeah, it's against the fence. Maybe I just missed the hay bale. What the hell? Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Okay, well, whatever. We made it by that section. I had to improvise a little bit, but we're through. And somehow, despite the slight hiccup, we're still alive. Now at the cornfield, I take a path deep to the right. This section of the game isn't a challenging one, but definitely a heavily RNG-based area. Depending on what path you decide to take, there's about a 20% chance a cultist will spawn, blocking your route forward, and luckily this wasn't one of those moments, so we clear another area I was slightly on edge about and make our way into Nick and Laird's territory. This is where most Platinum Achievers consider to be the hardest area in the game. Not only do Nick and Laird take your camera and drain a quarter of its only battery, but every encounter with the two of them has an opportunity to go south if you make one wrong turn. This is highly due to the fact that Nick and Laird shoot arrows at you throughout the level that will instantly kill you if they connect. Playing these encounters perfectly, we save all of the chapter 2 stress for the last section. This is known as the rope encounter, which once again is only difficult due to it being extremely RNG based. Each time you play the level, there's a chance enemies will have different pathing or interactions. And to be honest, this was the location I was most worried about, not only because of the RNG, but because I had forgotten to practice it in chapter select. But I knew if I made it past this point, the worst would be behind us. Apparently, you can walk by this person if you take it wide enough. I'm gonna keep walking. I don't want to get spotted in the back. I think I'm spotted. I don't know how that's gonna change this interaction, but that definitely screwed me. That's the only guy that I'm worried about. Half the time he doesn't grab you, half the time he does, and if I press the wrong button there, I was gonna be dead. And the question is, where is he going to be? Because if he's going to be in front of me at the rope, which is a solid chance he is, I'm screwed. I don't see anybody here. Thanks. All right, Nick and Laird are going to spawn. And this is where we're going to get one tapped if we get hit. And I also have to turn this kind of wide. Oh, wait, he didn't spawn there. Oh my god, if he spawned in front of me, I would have had a wide turn in the water. But we made it through. We got a good spawn on the second half of that. The first half I had a bad encounter, but the second half we got really lucky on the spawn. All right, we're through the RNG part, and that's the only part that I didn't practice, so I was also worried about. The second half of the game is apparently the easier half. Obviously, we're gonna have the heretic chase, the library sequence, and then the mines at the end, but this is the turning point here. The next chapter is a fairly low-risk area, mostly consisting of paddling your raft and running simple routes away from Loudermilch. Now arriving to the mine facility, we're once again faced with a real opportunity to lose our run. There's very little room for error when it comes to the heretic chases, so this is going to be the first location in the game we start to flash our night vision. Now this is a run killer location. I'm not 100% worried about it. I am going to use my battery though at the staircase, and then to make sure we get through the wall successfully. Only because that wall did mess me up on my practice attempt earlier this stream. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have zero fear in using my battery. That was definitely like a longer use, but nothing I'm worried about. Because if you don't use it on this sequence, when are you going to use it? All right, I'm going to be completely out of stamina, but we're through. And then now we're on a timer again, I believe. A hidden timer for this door. And then once we go through this window, we'll be on Jessica, and it should be library sequence, which is the hardest school zone of the entire game.
And as I said, it's time for the library sequence. This is challenging not only because Loudermilk, who will be chasing you, has the capability to one hit, but you have to avoid him while navigating around in a pitch black maze.
This is the run killer. All right, there's still one more section you can die here, but we did the maze perfect. I think I need a bandage. I haven't used any, but it's never a bad thing to have extras, jump scare. And then from here, we have to run up to this, and then the third pillar he spawns in. So I'm gonna sit here for a second, recharge my stamina, line up backwards. Pillar 1's to our right, pillar 2's to our left. Get the camera out. Next pillar. Activated, follow Jessica, go around that, and then through here, and we should be good. All right, almost through the thick of it here, boys. Obviously, we're end game. We still got some stuff coming up, but we are chilling.
Relieved but not ready to celebrate yet, we descend into the mines and are now in the end game. Knowing the risk of being this deep in a run, this is the chapter I decided to focus on learning the most. So once I'm able to start moving, I'm locked in.
Now, I could do this part a little bit different, but I'm just going to do it the way I know. To just get in this crevice here and wait for the despawn. All right, despawn. And again, it's crucial here that we open this door because we're going to need to use that door here on this heretic. So this is spawn point number 2. I'm going to have to recharge my stamina before I actually force the spawn. So we'll sit here for a second, orientate. And then we're going to walk backwards to spawn him in. And then this is the only part that you can get caught up on. Let him grab us. And I've got to be really good about this part here. Get to the other side of the door and then close it. And then lock it. So we'll wait like 4 seconds. And then heretic number 2 should be despawned. Unlock and open the door. And then heretic number 3 will be there. We get his attention. He's going to chase us, grab us out of this. And then we're going to hard right again. And then go to the end of the tunnel. And then that should be the end of that first sequence with the heretics. So he should still be chasing me until this like light, basically. And then now we should be safe. That's a trickier sequence. And again, I didn't practice that today. So with it not being fresh in my memory, I was kind of worried about it. But yeah, that was smooth.
We're now at our last chase sequence with Val, and this is what I've been saving my camera battery for. Not letting my nerves get to me, I clear it, and now all that stands between me and the Platinum Trophy is one final encounter with Marta.
Once we're through this bookshelf, it's it. And that's the final chase. All right, no more death opportunities. Now everybody chill the fuck out. Chill out. Because we need the game to not crash on us. You can gas me up, but we need the game to not crash. That's it, though. That's the final chase. Dude, oh my God. I did not think we'd knock it out first try, but we did. We're not enjoying this moment until I get all of the trophies. Now it's up to fate. Did we get all of the trophies in that run? All right, there we go. Finish the game on hard mode. That's good. That's good. Because that means we skipped all the other ones and went straight to the platinum, baby. Unlock all other trophies. Okay, now we can celebrate. We got it. So of course at the end there we only popped Sanctified, but because we had 5 trophies left, we got Preacher for finishing the game on Nightmare mode, Insane mode difficulty, and then Messiah for finishing the game on Insane mode without reloading the camera battery, which eventually popped the platinum trophy. We did it. That is the entire Outlast PlayStation franchise completed.